We got to talk about the Democrat Party in these midterms because it seems like things aren't getting a whole lot better for the Democrat Party. And I want to show you guys some polls to reiterate that. Now, before we hop into it, all of this means a hill of beans if we don't show up and vote, okay? We have to still show up and vote. I don't care how good these polls start to look or the prediction markets start to look. Still show up and vote, all right? The same way we did in 2024 to get Uncle Trump in office, we need to show up again, okay? Because once again, these polls may start looking very, very, very amazing here shortly. And I don't want people to say, yeah, we got it in the bag, because no, we don't. No, we don't. Let's hop into it. I want to throw this up on the screen. As you can see, this is showing a Harris poll where amongst registered voters, it's showing that Democrats have a lead. And you're like, Rich, hold on, man. What? Well, amongst likely voters, 51 to 49. And I know you're probably thinking, Rich, that's still, we're still behind. Like, why did you? How many times have we seen these polls be way off? A lot, right? If the polls are now at 2%, 2 points of a difference, what's that tell you? If the polls have always been off in favor of Democrats, we watched it all 2024. I reported on it. Oh my goodness, Kamala! You guys remember the Ann Seltzer poll, the Iowa poll, the one where she literally burned her career for it, retired afterwards. Right? Oh my goodness, Kamala's leading Trump by 4 or 7 or whatever it was in the Iowa poll. Trump's gonna lose Iowa. If he loses Iowa, he's gonna lose everything. Yeah, he won Iowa comfortably, very comfortably. It wasn't even close. She wasn't even in a ballpark. Not even in a ballpark. And that was the case with a lot of these different polls. So if now they're showing 2, we got the dub. We got the W. Okay, now we still got to show up, but we got the W. And that says a lot about the Democrat Party because remember, we are in a midterm. We have the House, we have the Senate, we got the presidency. Things should flip. Historically, they've always flipped. Only 3 times in the past century have things not flipped. And this is looking like the 4th. Okay? This is looking like the 4th. Now I want to throw this up on the screen as well. GOP wins the House. Updated at Polls Max forecast predicts the Republicans will win 218 seats, the exact number needed to retain their majority. 2026 House of Representatives is projected to be a Republicans 218 to Democrats 217. Bang. Wow. Wow. Amazing. As I can't think of his name right now. Amazing. 218 to 217. Absolutely incredible stuff. You can see this generic ballot amongst Hispanics. Republicans have a comfortable lead there at +5. We just recently had a +7 bump. So we're looking good there. I mean, literally across the board, we are looking pretty darn good, especially when you consider that this is a midterm year, and we should be behind.
For all states that Donald Trump won back in 2024. And look at this. The median in the 6 key Senate races, look at this. The generic Senate ballot lead for Republicans, look at that. In the median state is 6 points. And, of course, the median right down the middle is, what, 3.5, right? So you need to win states in which the generic Senate ballot lead is Republican +6, and then say the Dem Party is too far to the left. Look at this, 53%. So these are states that are just very hard to win because bottom line is what is holding them back is the fundamentals. And when you put it all together.
Yeah, this is coming back to haunt the Democrat Party right there. And if they're showing this, you can bet that number is a lot higher than that. Okay? And these are places where they need to win the Senate. And most people are saying that the party is too far left. And it's why you see, like, in a place in like Michigan, their Senate candidate, Abdul, I believe his name is now backtracking on a lot of his former statements, trying to make it seem like he's more of a moderate, like they did with Abigail Spanberger in Virginia. She campaigned as a moderate, said she was a moderate, right down the middle, but as soon as she got in office, far left agenda, right? Socialist agenda. And so I think that is really going to come back to haunt them as well, because as we get closer to the actual midterms, I'm sure folks are going to bring out ads, especially against folks like Abdul, and show, hey, he's campaigning as a moderate, but this is what also Abigail Spanberger did, and show some clips of her talking about being a moderate and blah, 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 and then show clips of the actual policies that she actually put into place. And so people are really going to see that and then look at him and get to hear his former statements as well, like defund the police, the whole nine, versus what he's trying to say now. And they're going to see the similarities and he's going to be cooked. So that's going to be great to watch. Here's an enthusiasm poll for the midterms.
Well, squirmy there, but Democrats have another problem. According to a new poll, 75% of MAGA voters are enthusiastic about voting in the midterms, while just 63% of Democrats said the same. Well, Joey is at the big...
When you have an enthusiasm gap during a time where you should easily win, you've got a major problem. And I don't even like Fox polls, because I feel like Fox polls are even garbage. I don't really value Fox polls any more than I value CNN polls or anything like that. I always bump up the Republicans whenever in all of these polls from these folks. So if you have an enthusiasm gap amongst Democrats, that's a major problem. Once again, we still have to show up, guys. We still got to show up, but it's looking pretty darn good, especially when you consider a place like Oregon may elect a Republican governor. Not even kidding. Check it out. Christine Drazen, I believe that's how you say her name, is in the lead by 4 points against Tina Kotek, the Democrat, in Oregon, of all places. Oregon. Absolutely wild stuff. So even in a deep blue state like that, it looks like a Republican may pull out a win as a governor. Wild, right? Absolutely wild stuff. But, that's just weird. That's just how far these Democrats have actually gone in some of these places. It's absolutely ridiculous what they've done to these places. And I think it's being done intentionally. That's the only explanation. When you look at places like Chicago, Seattle, the entire state of California, where you're watching the decay, the utter decay and chaos of these places, that has to be being done intentionally. 100%. I mean, even a place like New York City, where you got Zohran Mamdani lying to the people, telling them, oh, I balanced the budget. No, you didn't. You received a stimulus package from the state, right? From the state. You received millions of dollars to try to cover your shortfall. You didn't balance a single thing. And so that's going to turn into chaos eventually as well. That's going to turn into utter chaos. I mean, more chaos than it already is in. I mean, and then you look at a place like Chicago, shootings all the time. Seattle, you got pimps and drug dealers, racing throughout the streets, so much so that some of the citizens of the area have put in planters to block off their streets, so drug dealers and pimps aren't running up, driving up and down the street shooting at each other. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And I talked about, did I talk about that here? I believe I talked about it on my second channel. So if you aren't subscribed to my second channel, definitely go and subscribe to it. The link is down below in the description box, but it is called Extra Rich. XTRA space RICH. All right. You can type that into the search bar and my second channel should pop right up. But I talked about that over there. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And it's the same thing with their taxing, right? They run a budget deficit, so they tax more. And then the next year, they run a budget deficit again, so they tax more. They run a budget deficit. Oh, tax the rich. And even more rich people leave, so they're taxing the citizens even more. I forgot that part, right? They always talk about tax the rich. And then the rich start to leave. The businesses start to leave. So then they have to raise property taxes and tax regular folks even more. And they're still not balancing the budget. They're still spending more money. So they're in a budget deficit again the very next year. And it's just like, what are y'all doing? And that's why I say it's got to be being done intentionally, and it looks like Oregon is finally done with it. And then here's the race that I was speaking about earlier with Abdul al-Said. It's looking pretty darn close, and as we know with these polls, the Republican is probably going to come out on top because they usually, undervalue the Republican in these types of races. And so, yeah, looking like Mike Rogers, meaning the Republican, is going to come out on top in this. Now, we shall see if Abdul Said is the actual one to, run in the general against Mike Rogers, because the establishment is trying to get Haley into that position. So we shall see if they manage to pull that one off. I highly doubt it, just based on where their party is, but we shall see. Now let's take a trip to New Hampshire, where you have John Sununu right there. Same situation as in Michigan. Same situation. So and like I said before, the way that I look at these polls, the Republican is in the lead. The Republican is in the lead right now. Okay? When you've got something this close, the Republican is in the lead. Now, there's a lot of undecideds. That could be an issue. But as of right now, the Republican is in the lead. And, we haven't even really gotten into, the real big spending season just yet. And as you guys know, and as I've talked about before, Republicans have a massive, and I mean massive, gap in funds to spend on these elections. So that is really going to spell doom for the Democrats, which is also quite interesting that once USAID got shut down and Act Blue was under investigation, all of a sudden the Democrats couldn't raise any money. Crazy how that works, isn't it? It's almost as if we were right about the money laundering in the Democrat Party. It's almost like we weren't crazy after all, huh? Anyway, let's take a trip to Georgia, where the prediction markets have flipped and have Rick Jackson beating out Keisha Lance Bottoms. And Keisha Lance Bottoms, I don't know if you guys know, but Keisha Lance Bottoms used to be, I believe, the mayor of Atlanta. So she has a lot of name recognition, a lot of name notoriety in the state of Georgia, which is, I think, part of the reason why she had such a massive lead, because everybody knew the name, okay? But now it looks like Rick Jackson in the prediction markets has taken the lead, but then also in the actual polls, he has taken the lead as well. And so that is amazing. So in Oregon, we may have a governor, and also in Georgia as well. That is absolutely beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. Let's keep all of these states great. Okay. So, yeah, man, it's looking pretty darn good across the board. But once again, I'm going to leave you guys with this, and I know I've said it before, but I feel like I have to reiterate it with these types of videos. We still have to show up. Keep that pedal pressed all the way down, okay? Democrats are going to try to come up with something before these midterms, probably going to try to shut down the government or something to try to rile up some support, get some anger out there. So we can't sit back on our hands whatsoever. Got to show up and vote. Got to show up and vote 100%. Because, like I said, I can guarantee you Democrats are going to pull off some kind of stunt. Whether that's shutting down the government or creating another hoax, or, trying to get somebody put 6 feet in the dirt by ICE or something, and them using that to run off of. They're going to do something. I guarantee it. So, got to show up and vote, guys. Got to show up and vote. But as always, make sure you guys hit that like button. Subscribe if you are new. Also, subscribe to my second channel as well. Stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.